Good morning, YouTube. Today I want to talk all about fire extinguishers for your car.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, this is my garage, and this channel is all about the supercar ownership experience, buying and selling them, maintaining them, DIY working them, and even things to protect them. Like today, we're going to be talking about fire extinguishers. For those of you that didn't already know, I had a bit of an incident with this Ferrari F430 behind me. So we put on some new headers and they had a ceramic coating, and something went wrong with the ceramic coating, and the ceramic coating caught on fire. Oh, it's on fire. Obviously, that was a pretty intense moment, and my brain short-circuited, and I was smiling while my car was on fire. Don't ask. I don't know why. So in that situation, it would have been nice if I would have had a fire extinguisher. So even though I got super lucky, let's be clear about that. When I stopped the car, the fire burned itself out. That was extremely lucky, and it didn't spread to anything else. If I had not gotten that lucky, I would have been waiting for the fire trucks to come, and I could have lost the car or certainly damaged a lot of components in the engine bay because I didn't have a fire extinguisher. Now, that was my bad, and that's a lesson learned. And prior to this event, honest to God, my opinion always was I didn't really want fire extinguishers in my car because I always thought, you know, if my car catches on fire, I'm gonna let it burn to the ground because no one wants a half-burnt Ferrari. But I never thought about a situation like what happened with this car, where it was a small fire that easily could have been put out, contained, and then not had further damage to the car. That would have been a situation perfect for a fire extinguisher where I could have contained the fire myself and prevented further damage. Obviously now at this point in time, I am going to have fire extinguishers in my cars from now and ever on. And that brings up some dilemmas. So almost all of you have seen fire extinguishers that look exactly like this. These are great in some cases, but they're not that great, and also they're absolutely huge. So if you notice, that is quite large. Here's a bottle of beer. Yeah, it's a lot bigger than that beer. The problem I ran into is I don't want that sitting in there. So everyone says, oh, just throw it in the passenger footwell. Well, these cars aren't the most spacious, and having something that large take up the footwell is pretty inconvenient. Let me show you. So as you can see, that takes up quite a bit of room. For a passenger that's already not got much room, that is not exactly convenient. Now, yes, they do have smaller bottles, but those smaller bottles don't really do a whole lot. This is a big bottle, and it still doesn't even last that long. So these big pressurized traditional fire extinguishers aren't really designed to last very long. So obviously the other orientation people do is they put it up on the side like that. But I mean, you can see that's intruding on at least 1/5 of the floor space for the passenger. And of course you could put it behind the seats, but now you've run into the problem of it takes a lot longer to get to it. And that brings up a third possibility, which is people say, oh, put it in the front trunk. Well, let's be real. That's a lot of time that you're wasting trying to get that to go put out a fire that's almost certainly going to be back here. So you obviously need it as close as possible to you. So if you read the bottle, it says discharge time is approximately 13 to 15 seconds. That's all you get, 15 seconds. It also says do not test. Any test will cause pressure loss. So basically you use it once and this thing is disposable. Another thing to keep in mind is these things can lose pressure over time, so you have to make sure that little gauge says it's okay. So all these things make it so that this is not exactly an ideal solution for your car. So as soon as I got home after having my 430 catch on fire, I started Googling fire extinguishers for the car. And obviously the traditional fire extinguishers were the first things that came up. Eventually, two things happened. One, I remembered Richard had bought some other fire extinguisher, and I stumbled across a different brand. So I stumbled across this little Element fire extinguisher. Yeah, this tiny little thing is a fire extinguisher. And what is crazy is that this lasts 50 seconds, 50 versus 15. And look at the size difference of these two. So we get 50 seconds with that, 15 seconds with all of that. And as you can see, obviously this does not take up a whole lot of floor space. It is literally smaller than my bottle of beer. Okay, well, it's slightly taller, but you know what I mean. It's basically smaller. So that met one of my criteria, which was I didn't want something to take up a ton of floor space. That was very important to me because let's be real, this is a street car. This is not a race car, even though we do occasionally put on the track. 99% of the time it is on the street. And furthermore, I don't think my wife's gonna be very happy if I take away some of her floor space in the few times that she does ride in this car. She's gonna be even more like, hey, I don't really want to ride in the Ferrari. Now I can't even put my feet down. Now, another criteria that I haven't talked about yet is that these traditional fire extinguishers, most of them put out like a resin or a chemical or something, and it can actually damage your paint. And that was one of the thoughts in my mind, was that when this thing was on fire, if I had had a traditional fire extinguisher and I sprayed it and let's say the residue got all over the paint, I would have just damaged the car probably in the tunes of many thousands of dollars. Putting out the fire would be great, good, it's not gonna burn to the ground, but hey, I still damaged the crap out of it and now I have a bunch of other stuff to take care of. Not exactly the best situation, and that is again, another thing why I wanted this. So this does not put out any sort of residue. It cannot damage your paint. It has a chemical reaction that puts out an inert gas, therefore the fire goes out. That is pretty awesome. So we're gonna do a little demonstration of putting out a fire with one of these, but before we do, I thought it was important for you guys to go check out elementfire.com. So that's where you can go buy these things. Use the code NGS10 and they're gonna hook you up with 10% off. Oh, by the way, these things also work in like your house, in your kitchen, all that sort of stuff. So it's not just for your car. So before we do a demonstration of the Element Fire Extinguisher, I wanted to point out a few things. Number one, if your car catches on fire, your safety is your top priority. There's going to be situations that could happen where no fire extinguisher on earth is going to put out the fire. Now, a lot of people had sent me emails and comments and whatever when my car caught on fire, and they're like, you should get a halon system. Go watch some videos of race cars, and even halon systems aren't bulletproof and they don't stop all fires. If you rupture a fuel tank or cut a fuel line on these cars, there's 22 gallons of fuel in this car. That's a lot of fire. This little tiny fire extinguisher, none of that stuff's gonna put out. You need a fire truck, okay? A big old truck with like foam and stuff. So in cases like that, get away from the fire. Don't worry, that's what insurance is for, okay? Your safety comes first. The car is secondary. Save your own butt. Now, in a situation like what I experienced, that was a clear, perfect situation for a fire extinguisher. The car was not really on fire that much. A fire extinguisher would have helped put it out faster and would have eliminated more risk to damage. I was never really at risk at all. It could have gotten worse had things spread, but it didn't. So in that case, fire extinguishers are awesome, and that's the kind of things that you want these things for. Smaller fires that can be contained, good for fire extinguishers. Big fuel-based fires where the entire gas tank's ruptured, go away, get away, run, save yourself kind of stuff, okay? Good. So we don't want people being like the heroes and getting themselves hurt or killed over a car. Insurance, that's what it's for, okay? Make sure you're up to date on your insurance. Okay, so here's how we're gonna demonstrate putting out a fire using the Element Fire Extinguisher. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna light on fire my gas grill. Oh, the dog's out here. We're gonna have to put the dog away. But
No.
yeah, no dogs at this one. No dogs allowed. Not a dog-friendly activity.
Not a shop dog activity.
No. Yeah. Go, Mo. Oh,
Oh.
poor Mo.
Oh.
It's like, no, but I
You
want
can
to.
even have the stick inside, but go.
Once we light those on fire, I'm actually gonna take some paper and shove paper on those fires, so that should make it so we can actually see the flames. They'll be nice and orange. Then I'm gonna take and use the Element Fire Extinguisher and put out all that fire. So I'm gonna have my lovely assistant Megan. She's gonna do the filming because, well, otherwise I don't think you guys will be able to really see the whole thing go down. So I'll do my best to kind of like get her at a good angle, okay? Good. We're gonna light the fires. Come on. Alright, those are lit. So again, you can't see them, right? So we're gonna throw those paper in there. Those are obviously catching fire very quickly.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna use this to put them out. Alright?
Okay.
Alright, here we go. Oops. I'm gonna be holding my fire extinguisher. Alright, ready? Here we go. Paper on fire.
Let it burn a little
Okay.
bit.
Whoa, that caught on fire fast.
Yeah,
Ready?
paper burns quickly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still going.
Yeah, go for 50 seconds.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. Dude! And now I guess,
Let
hold
it burn off.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa.
You're cleaning this up.
Yeah, that's fine. I should probably turn off the gas.
No kidding, Captain.
Now it's actually out. Wow, this thing's going for a while. It is. I'm just gonna kind of hold it here for a little bit. That is cool.
That is cool, bro.
Dude.
I did not expect it to be that powerful.
That was intense.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there.
Wow. Alright, well it works.
Yeah,
Clearly.
you're cleaning up the grill.
Okay. Sweet. Everyone's like, what the hell was that? We'll probably tell the neighbors.
Okay.
You wanna go tell them?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the aftermath, this thing's hot, so we're gonna let that cool down for a little bit. And you can see the paper didn't even fully burn. There's some warmth here from the actual fire, but it's totally out. So it totally put out the fire after only a few moments. Even the paper and the gas fire, everything went out. And then it just kind of kept going, so I just kind of stood here and let it kind of spray all over the place, which admittedly kind of like blew the ashes around, which was less than ideal. But if it was on fire in a car, it would have totally saved the car. If it was on fire in the kitchen, would it be much better than having the whole house burn down? Yeah, that was really effective. I am thoroughly impressed. So I just wanted to note a few things. Number one, that was literally the first time I've ever used the Element Fire Extinguisher, and it worked perfectly, and I had no problem figuring out how to use it. It's really simple. Pull the cap off the top, pull this thing off the bottom, and then use the bottom thing, put it on the top thing, the top where there's like a little thing, and you just strike it against it, and it lit immediately. I mean, that was super easy, and it was first try. So that's pretty awesome. A second thing I want to point out is I actually have a second story about cars catching on fire. Believe it or not, when I was much younger, I had another car of mine catch on fire, and I did have a fire extinguisher. So it was at my garage, we were working on the car, and it caught on fire through my fault. Dumb mistake, my bad. So I yelled to my buddy, hey, grab the fire extinguisher, the car's on fire. He grabs the fire extinguisher, brings it over, pull the pin, squeeze the handle, nothing happens because it was too old and it lost its charge. So obviously that doesn't happen with these. I'm in love with this thing. I'm gonna get them for my kitchen, my garage, and my cars. I'm gonna have them everywhere. This is awesome. I just had to point out one last thing. Made in Italy. Yes, very appropriate for those of us with Ferraris and Lamborghinis, which seem to catch on fire more often than most cars. So again, go to elementfire.com, use the code NGS10. You're gonna get hooked up with 10% off, so that's awesome. But also, let me show you what I'm gonna do with my Element Fire Extinguisher. So check this out. Well, if you notice, there is nothing in the cabin space because we're gonna put it right here. There you go. It is in my side pocket, it fits perfectly, and it's right there at a hand's reach. So at any time, if I need it, it's right there. That is what I consider a perfect placement for that thing because it's just gonna be hidden out of the way. I don't have some ugly fire extinguisher sitting around in the car. I don't have to like get behind my seat. I don't have to worry about people kicking it. And it's definitely not in the front where it's completely worthless when there's a fire all the way back here. Another cool thing to point out, this is not just an ABC fire, this is an ABC K. This thing is set up for all the basic fire types and even kitchen fires. Most of you don't know this, but your ABC fire extinguisher isn't really designed to do like a kitchen oil fire because I was actually talking to them and they said part of the problem is a lot of these fire extinguishers, if you squeeze them and spray them at like a kitchen fire, it'll spray the grease out of the pan and then you got grease that's on fire flying all over the place. This won't do that. Okay, so we're at the part now where you guys want to find out how do I get a free Element Fire Extinguisher? Well, there's two ways, okay? The first one is I'm gonna give one of them away to just the members of my channel. So if you're a member of my channel, you're gonna be entered to win as soon as we hit 60,000 subscribers. Yes, so when I hit 60,000 subscribers, one of my members is going to win. If you're not gonna be a member of my channel, which is very unfortunate, you should become a member of my channel, but if you're not for some reason, well, you have to be a subscriber of my channel and you have to be on my email list. So there's two ways to get on my email list. You could either buy any of my merch or go to my website and sign up on the forum. If you do those things, once we hit 60,000 subscribers, one of you will also get an Element Fire Extinguisher. Yes, so we're gonna give away 2 of these fire extinguishers. If you need one in the meantime, again, go to elementfire.com, use the code NGS10, and get yourself hooked up with 10% off on some of these fire extinguishers, because these are awesome. This is a much better technology. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate those of you that do subscribe to my channel and are members of the channel, do things like share and like these videos. That all does help out my channel. So thank you very much for those of you doing that. You know we have lots of car stuff coming away, so you're gonna wanna stay tuned. It's gonna be sweet.